So all knives are reactive to their environments. A word that's often used is patina, and you will see carbon steel knives patina much more than you would stainless. But that isn't to say stainless can't patina. Now, patina is a nice word for rust, but there's really two forms of rust. There's the gray and there's the red. The red is what you want to avoid. The red is what you would get if you put a carbon steel knife in the dishwasher. Not what you want. The gray, however, is the organic change in the metal over time in its reaction with oxygen and humidity in the air. Now, you can force patinas onto knives. What I do when I send them out, and I do apply patinas in terms of etch or force patinas at times, but no matter the knife, what I do before I send it out is I give it a layer of knife juice. Knife juice is a really simple concoction that's food safe, that involves beeswax and mineral oil in certain proportions, essentially cooked together to formulate one solution. And I give a small container of that solution to all knives that are purchased for customers that want to reapply it, which they don't have to do every time, but every once in a while. It's not a bad idea to apply something like this to a knife, especially a custom knife if you want to preserve it. I also sell larger formats, but this isn't something every customer is going to want to apply. Some customers already just use straight mineral oil, and that works well, and that works fine for them. There are other choices as well. I like this because the beeswax actually stays to the blade. Now, it's never going to prevent any and all oxygen and humidity to get to the metal, but it will slow it down, and it's actually nice on the handle as well. Even though the material is stabilized, it gives it a nice finish, and it doesn't have to be applied every time, but every once in a while. So if you decide to scrub the knife heavily for some reason, then maybe reapplying something, whether it's this or an oil of your choice, is probably a good idea. So I have these in terms of the customer sample and the sample that I sell, but I make big batches of it, so I keep this for myself. And you kind of want to keep this at room temperature because that makes it really easy to apply. It's kind of like a thick goop, and you can sort of apply it as you would anything else, relatively liberally. You're going to rub most of this off anyway, but the layer that you leave is going to be a nice protective layer for this carbon steel knife specifically. And like I said, I'm going to finish on the handle as well, and it's going to make it look and feel nice too. In terms of food taste, I am told that it does not affect food taste when using the knife in terms of the beeswax, but there is a slight actual pleasant odor to my knife juice that I like, and it's pretty easy to apply as well. And like I said, it's food safe, which is kind of the most important thing. And it's easy to apply. And you can apply a couple coats if you want. You can get fancy and you can apply a little bit of heat if you have a hair dryer and you really want to get fancy with how you apply the layers. If you want to apply layers, you can do it that way. Like anything, of course, there are levels to it. But this here level just makes it so that it's kind of nice. I'm also using a soft cloth. You don't want to use this. You don't want to use anything that's abrasive. Just scratching up your knife for no reason. Not really worth it. So I have to hold the knife relatively cautiously here because this is a live edge. We just finished sharpening this thing. And it's the kind of edge that'll bite. It'll just kind of, if you nick it, it'll remind you that you nicked it. And you don't really ever want to leave a layer on the knife of anything really, because it gets cakey. So you're really just looking to apply whatever it is you're applying, in my case, my knife juice, and remove the layer, and what remains is really enough of a layer to protect to whatever degree it's going to protect. Right around the handle, where the handle meets the knife, that's always an important area. So try to clean that up if you can. Good. Now I've been touching the blade with my hand, so I'm going to go back and just rub this relatively soaked cloth and just even out the rest of the finish. And now I can just let it sit, and it'll actually harden up a little bit. And leave the knife looking pretty good, I think. Just as an additional source of pride, I suppose, the beeswax sourced is actually Canadian made. So there is actually a problem with fake honey around the world, believe it or not. And with that comes fake beeswax, and a lot of it comes from China, or I guess probably most of it. So I make an extra point of making sure that the beeswax I collect for my knife juice is actually sourced from local Canadian beekeepers. And like I said, it leaves a pretty pleasant smell, which is a nice little bonus. Now I'll just get my dirty fingerprints off the blade. And that's it. Let this sit, and the remaining material will evaporate in terms of the mineral oil, and the remaining beeswax will just harden up and act as a thin layer on the entire surface, which you'll get a slight scent of, but it won't affect food taste, and it won't affect the grip of the knife either once this all sort of sets in properly. Thanks for watching a video. If you have any interest in seeing more, you can find me on social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, I'm even on Twitter. If you have an interest in maybe getting a knife yourself, by all means go to the website and stay tuned for more.